Hi, I'm Erin Leach, and you're listening to the In the Middle of It podcast. This is a space for the ambitious woman navigating the beautiful, messy intersection of motherhood, business, and spirituality. We're here to get real about what it actually looks like to build a life that feels aligned from the inside out while moving through the seasons that stretch and shape you into the best version of yourself. So, whether you're in a season of high speed growth or quiet reflection, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Let's get ready for this week's episode.
Hey, friend. Welcome back to In the Middle of It. I am your host, Erin Leach, and today we're going to talk about something that I'm pretty sure every ambitious woman bumps into, especially this time of year when the collective theme is gratitude, reflection, and all of that jazz. But instead of the normal narrative around gratitude, I want to talk about a version of it that's maybe a little bit more nuanced and a little different, and maybe also a little liberating at the same time. Because, yes, you can be wildly grateful for your life and still want more. They are not mutually exclusive. You can love your home and your business and your marriage and your rhythms, but you can still also desire growth and expansion or support and change. Wanting more does not make you ungrateful. It makes you aware and intentional and someone who is continuing to evolve, which, like, aren't we all anyways, regardless of who we are? But especially as ambitious women, ambitious mothers, for sure, always evolving, always changing. And I think that ambition just naturally leads us to look for ways that we can continually be better. And this whole concept, it's not necessarily new to me. Came across it at some point in my spiritual journey, but especially lately, like in the past couple of years, I've really honed in on this. And specifically, when Scott and I decided to start seeing a couples therapist, did it become really clear. And let me just clear the air and everything, because I know that I have friends and family who are listening. Nothing dramatic is happening. Okay. We love each other. We enjoy being married. We have actually a really great relationship. But transitioning into parenthood, it will rearrange every room in your metaphorical internal house. So, yeah, obviously, we've had friction and some confusion and mismatched expectations, as I'm sure most couples have when they transition to parents. But there's nothing catastrophic, just more bumps than before. And to relate this back to the whole gratitude piece, is that we both realized and agreed that why should we wait until things are like bad to get support? Why wouldn't we strengthen what we already have while things are actually good? And especially with expecting our next baby in March, we knew that this would be a good time to get into working with someone on a like professional level to maybe proactively work through some communication things and just in general to be in a better spot than we already were before we go and throw another kid into the mix and life gets all sorts of messy again. So this whole process of deciding whether to go to a couples therapist or not and grappling with like the whole decision behind it really made me sit with this idea that things do not need to be insufferable to warrant improvement. You don't have to hit rock bottom just to justify wanting to be better. And even just the basic sense of good isn't the opposite of better. Good is a foundation for better. And I've noticed that that theme shows up everywhere, especially with women that I support. The ones that say, but my business isn't that bad. I can manage. Or I'll just figure it out myself. Or I don't really need support. Or on a more general level, how many times have you personally said or thought this? I shouldn't complain. Other people have it so much worse. And underneath that is this unspoken belief that we've just been like socialized to accept, that I should be grateful for what I have. Who am I to want more? Who cares? Is what I have to say, honestly. And when I started the DBT program that I mentioned a couple episodes back, it introduced this whole concept of dialectics, that two opposite things can be true at the same time. It looks like I love my life and I want it to evolve. And it's the and that makes a difference. There's no but. I love my life, but I want it to evolve. That does sound a little on the more negative side versus saying, I love my life and I want it to evolve. I love what I have. I'm so grateful for everything that I have. And I'm so ready for more. I'm so proud of how far I've come. And I still know I can go even further. There's like a much more empowering and positive shift that happens when you just replace but with and, let alone embracing the fact that the two can exist at the same time and it doesn't mean anything about you. Like gratitude and ambition are not enemies. Wanting more doesn't necessarily cancel your gratitude, and your gratitude doesn't diminish your desire for whatever it is. Both of them get to coexist in a very happy relationship. And something that's been helping me embody this more deeply, especially around like our home and finances, is a particular energetic perspective that honestly just really makes sense, that your frequency creates your reality. So if I walk around my house every day thinking, this place is so old, I'm so sick of this room, oh, we need more space, nothing is updated, I wish I had this, I wish I had that, that energy compounds and my frequency drops. I just feel super bleh. And the universe matches that frequency, not in a punishment way, but simply in a like attracts like kind of way. But if I shift the lens and I remind myself that in 5 years now, this house has held so many good memories. And even just thinking back to 5 years ago when we first got this house and started working on it, remembering what it looked like 5 years ago, that definitely puts things into a more positive perspective, because this place was rough when we first bought it, but we made it beautiful. And we did that. Look how far we've already come. And just that little shift changes my entire vibration. And I've noticed the more that I treat what I already have with respect and adoration, the more I actually really do appreciate it. Like if I did continuously walk around my house thinking like negative things about it, that's just going to fester. And I'm not going to be able to flip that perspective as easy or see my house in a positive light if all I think of it is negativity. But now that I have chosen, and it's a choice, it's a very intentional choice to think in this different way. But now that I have, it's a lot easier to sit back and really appreciate this home for it being a home. It's not just a house. It's not just a bump on our road, on our journey. This is a really special place that we will always remember. And I would rather look back and remember it in a more positive light than the crazy ass old house that was MacGyvered up the wazoo that drove us crazy all the time. And even still, that can be true. And also, I can still love this house because I do. And it's the same thing with money too. I mentioned like finances as well, that when I look at my bank account and I see like AT&T or home insurance or taxes or whatever, I could very easily slip into the why is everything so expensive trap that a lot of us fall into. But most of the time, not all the time, because I am still human, I genuinely try to flip that energy. Like saying, I get to run both of my businesses from this tiny little device in my hand, or I get to have internet that lets me work from home and raise my babies. I get to protect my home with insurance so that if anything ever happened, we do have a safety net. They're not expenses, they're infrastructure, I guess. They support my life, they support my work and my family. And when I honor that support, even when it's something as boring as home insurance bill, my frequency still rises. And my body softens and my energy clears. And when your frequency rises like that, what you attract rises with it. And that's the spiritual side of gratitude that most people completely miss or misunderstand. You don't practice gratitude so you only appreciate what you have. You also practice gratitude so you can meet the frequency of what you want. Gratitude is the ground. Ambition and the vision is the expansion. And your energetic frequency is the bridge between the two. So once you understand that, wanting more stops feeling shameful and it starts feeling a little bit more aligned. You're not being greedy, you're being honest. And you're not being ungrateful, you are being open and receptive to more. And it's not about being unrealistic, you're attuned, I guess. And if you're feeling that internal tug of war, like one part of you is content, but the other part of you is in la la land and dreaming bigger, know that nothing is wrong. That pull is normal and it's directional. It's showing you where your next chapter wants to grow. It can lead you to the next phase of your life or your next level, the next best version of yourself, which then brings me to something that I've been quietly creating behind the scenes lately. And it's exactly for people in general, but obviously here in this podcast, I speak mostly to women who live in this wonderful intersection between gratitude and ambition. So I'm pulling together a guide called The Energetic Reset. I might change that name, I might not, who knows. And really, my thought behind it was to help you close out this year in a grounded, intentional way, reflecting on what mattered, and then vision casting for next year in a way that supports your intuition and honors your nervous system and still lets your ambition breathe. The past maybe 3 or 4 months or so by now, I have really been embracing a softer, slower, more creative, feminine energy behind the podcast and my coaching. And this is the way that I will be approaching my new year and the dreaded R word of resolutions and the other G word of goals that they get this bad rep, but honestly, I do kind of love this like new year energy. You know, it's even though it's literally you go from one day to another, it feels like a clean slate. It's a new year, and it doesn't necessarily mean new year, new me, but it is a chance to pause and reflect on what we've done in the past 365 days and think about what we might want to do in the next 365 days. There are no smarkles. There are no color coded spreadsheets. Unless you're into that thing and you want it to be, then all the more power to you. It's just way less rigid than your average end of year goal creation type of resource. I really wanted it to be more like asking yourself what feels most aligned, either in the past or what will feel more aligned in the future, what you're ready to embody next, what version of you is already emerging, like kind of really sitting with yourself almost in a more reflective state and thinking about, like, are there any little voices in the back of your head that are saying, what about this opportunity over here? Or trying to let you know that this aspect of your life is just like not working anymore. Listening to all of those more intuitive voices and really tuning into them to ideally embrace them, let them speak a little louder and see where they're going to lead, and thinking about how you can set yourself up to meet that next version of you with ease. Because as we know, also follow through is where most resolutions go to die. I'm also building in some gentle accountability type supports, things that are going to help us stay connected to each other and work on a more like longer term, but also help you stay connected to your vision long after that January excitement fades. It's not out yet. Like I said, still kind of working on it behind the scenes. But if you're curious or if you want early access, head over to my Instagram at I am Erin Leach, and there is a waitlist link in my bio. At some point, I will create some kind of an Instagram post with some more details, and I will be pinning that at the top of my feed as well. Depending on when you're listening to this, that may be there already. And if you have any questions about it, definitely just shoot me a DM, ask away. And speaking of gratitude, to wrap this all up, I have to say a very, very deep thank you to every single one of you who has chosen to play even 3 seconds of this podcast. I have been very nervous to go out on this venture, and it took a lot of facing all my limiting beliefs and subconscious stuff and everything, and just kind of stepping out of my own way, basically, to finally get this out there. And I am very, 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 very proud of myself for now doing, what is this, 5, 6, 7 episodes? I don't even know. But I wouldn't continue doing it if nobody was listening. So thank you so, so much for your support. At the minimum, just listening, but especially if you've shared the podcast to your stories or anything, or even just telling a friend about it, anything that you have done to support me in this new exciting adventure, thank you. I'm very, very grateful that you have been a part of this journey along with me. And if you're liking all of this content so far, please follow the show. If you don't already, leave a rating or review. Truly, seriously, that helps way more than you think. Now that I understand how much ratings and reviews help, I have been going back to podcasts that I love and showing them that love, because I just get it now. And even going a step further too, if you're loving this content and you feel it in your heart to share more, take a screenshot right now and post it to your stories. Tag me, please, so I can see this wonderful support that you have shown. And just share literally just that screenshot, or share like your favorite episode so far. And please just know that even if you never do anything more than just listen every Tuesday or whenever, I am still deeply grateful for you. Thank you so, so much for everybody being here. Until next time, I am Erin Leach, and just know that you are allowed to love your life deeply and still dream even bigger. See ya.